is why is now the best time, better than ever, to be building your nutriMetrix business? And there's a lot of reasons behind that, right? And I want to talk about some of them in the way that I normally do, but we're also going to talk about how this unique time that we're in is giving us the ability to grow our business in a way that we never have before. And so I know that more and more people are joining in. I'm going to go ahead and get started. And for those of you that don't know me, my name is Brandi Murphy. I am the Director of Training and Field Development for nutriMetrix. I've been an unfranchised owner since 2003. I've been on the corporate training faculty with nutriMetrix since 2007, and then have been in a leadership role with nutriMetrix since 2009. And so I've been with nutriMetrix basically from the beginning, and I want to talk to you a little bit about why nutriMetrix was created today and what is our mission, right? And some of you may have heard this before, some of you may have not. I know we have some people on the call who are brand new to nutriMetrix or on the Zoom or in the Facebook group. Those that are in the Facebook group definitely are people that have been trained in nutriMetrix, because it is a closed group. Not everybody can join that if they don't already have an account or they're not already on board as a nutriMetrix consultant or a health professional. But for those of you that are on the Zoom, some of you, this might be your first exposure to nutriMetrix. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about why we were created, what our mission is, and then we're going to talk about how to navigate building nutriMetrix in this very unique time. That's the first time that any of us are experiencing something like this. See, nutriMetrix was created because our parent company, Market America, that was founded in 1992, is a product brokerage company that focuses primarily, one of their biggest markets is the health and nutrition space. And so they've had health and nutrition consumer related products for decades, since they launched in 1992. It's one of their biggest spaces. And in the late 90s, early 2000s, our president, founder, and CEO, he's now our chairman, but at the time he was the president, founder, and CEO, J.R. Reidinger, was looking at the fact that health and nutrition was our largest space that we were operating in. And there were some things going on in the legislation where they were considering passing a bill that would make it so that supplementation was only available through a licensed healthcare professional as a prescription. And he started thinking about this. How could we preserve our market share? Because that was where a lot of our customers came from, was the health and nutrition space, while playing in that arena if that were to happen. And so he met with Dennis Franks, our executive vice president of sales, and they sat down and they started thinking about how can we preserve that market. And they started looking at the fact that, well, maybe if we partner with healthcare professionals to introduce them to our products, and should anything crazy happen and you could only get vitamin C as a prescription, which thankfully didn't happen, that we would have a network of health professionals already ready in our organizations to be able to do that. But that was just the beginning, because what ended up happening next was they started looking into our existing Market America family, and they found that we had hundreds of healthcare professionals already in our network that were utilizing our products. And that was well before we had a program targeted specifically towards health professionals' needs. And they started reaching out to those health professionals and asking the question, if we were to create a program just for you, what types of things would you want in it? And the health professionals said, well, we would want a private label. We would want some products or services that aren't available to non-health professionals. We would want to make sure that because we have such busy schedules that we could have somebody come to us with the training and teaching us about products and teaching about implementation strategies. And so the nutriMetrix program was really created where we take unfranchised owners who are our business owners, and we train them on how to go out and introduce the nutriMetrix products and services to health professionals, how to work with their staff, how to introduce the products to the patients, and how to create an implementation strategy that works. So the nutriMetrix program was launched in 2004, and our mission is simple. We want to transform healthcare, and we believe that by partnering with forward-thinking practitioners who go above and beyond in patient care, we can do that. We help those practitioners provide wellness programs that support not only the health goals of the patients, but the revenue goals of the practice. And we do this by using cutting-edge nutritional interventions. We have incredible products with very unique delivery systems and clinically studied ingredients. Plus, we have revolutionary technology modalities, an extensive network of providers. And our goal is really to change the face of healthcare, one patient and one healthcare professional at a time. We've been doing this since 2004. And what's interesting about it is when we look back at those practitioners that partnered with us in the early days, most of our trainings at that time were focused on biochemistry. They were focused on the clinical research behind the ingredients, the clinical research behind the products, which we still have that today. But there wasn't a lot of how to introduce it to the patients. There wasn't a lot of how to appropriately market it. And there wasn't a lot of implementation strategies built in. So over the last 15, 17 years, we've been changing how we train our practitioners and how we train our nutrimetrics consultants, and we really focus on the implementation piece. And I want to help you understand how important that is, because I think sometimes people undervalue the role of the nutrimetrics consultant. In fact, just last month in February, Dr. Deidre Mason, our director of nutrimetrics and clinical research for Market America, she and I went to New York City, and we had an exhibitor booth at the Integrative Health Symposia. The symposium. And so we were there with about 500 other vendors. Many of those vendors also had really great products. Many of those vendors also had some products with unique ingredients or novel formulations. And so we really were looking at, okay, how do we really stand out from the crowd when we're in a room with 500 other professional service lines in the health and nutrition space? And we started talking to some of the practitioners there. We started talking about their experience with implementation and what their experience with marketing strategies were. And there were some other vendors there that were consultants to the healthcare industry that they charge thousands of dollars to practitioners to teach them an implementation strategy. We were really the only table, the only exhibitor booth out of 500 at that event who offered not only a complete product line and clinical training tools like the implementation strategies that we have. We were the only one that offered implementation training at no additional cost, tools like our nutrigenomic test, the gene SNP DNA analysis, online support that we have through our nutritional websites that we have for practitioners and their patients, like nutraMetrix.com, and the role of an NC at no additional cost to them that has access to implementation training manuals, implementation tools, all the marketing support for the practices. We really do provide a complete suite, not only of products, but implementation tools that those practitioners can use. And so it was really eye-opening to be in that space. And when we would talk about our implementation strategies, the practitioners that would say to us, I've been using products in my practice for years and I've never had anybody come and do the types of things you're talking about. Nobody sat with them and did what we call a discovery meeting, where they sat down and helped them map out their goals and their vision and their mission for their practice. Nobody came in and helped them do a walkthrough of their practice to see what they could do to enhance how they're introducing products to their patients. Nobody gave them suggestions on what to do for the product display and how to follow up with patients. Nobody gave them all of those things. If they had them, they had to pay extra for it. So when we would talk about the types of implementation strategies we have for practitioners, their faces would light up, and they definitely wanted to learn more about that, because even though they may have been carrying other product lines in their practice before, they really wanted to learn about the business model behind what we teach them. And when I say business model, I'm not even yet talking about our compensation plan. Yet we have the most unique compensation plan out there as well. And our compensation plan, which is built on the unfranchised system created by Market America, is this very unique and revolutionary concept that takes the best components of franchising and online marketing and one-to-one sales and takes out all of the negatives and puts them all into this beautifully perfect package. And so we not only have the tools to help a practitioner learn the implementation strategies to grow their business, but we also have a very solid business model behind it. And that solid business model, like I said, has been around since 1992, and it has transformed the lives of thousands of entrepreneurs. In fact, we are in such a unique environment right now because within the last 2 to 3 weeks, the whole world has changed, and more people are at home. More and more people are finding themselves with more time than they've had before. More and more people are finding that they're having to go to an online model to continue conducting business. And for those of us that have had an online business for years, not only is it not business as usual for us, it's business is crazy for us right now, because there are people that are looking for what we have. There are people that are looking for, how can I get good quality health and nutrition products without having to leave my house? Well, we have solutions for that, not only for consumers, but to our health professionals, patients. How can I potentially preserve my income if I can't leave my house? There are people out there that are wondering how they're going to get their next paycheck. And we have an entire online model that teaches people, whether they're a health professional or not, how to grow a business online. And guys, I know it's a very unique time that we're in, because even some of our practitioners have been reaching out to me over the last week or two, and they're saying, I may end up having to close down my practice. Now, people are always going to need healthcare professionals. And one of the practitioners at Paula might be on the line with me now, one of our top practitioners, Dr. Chmielewski. Paula and I were talking earlier today, not earlier today, last week, at the end of the week. And we were talking about, one thing I think people aren't thinking about is people are still going to get colds. People are still going to get flus. People are still going to do silly things and cut themselves by accident. They're going to fall. They're going to injure their feet. They're going to have sprains and strains. And so a lot of our healthcare professionals, no matter what, they are considered an essential life supporting business. They have to stay open. Now, they may have to reduce their hours. They may have to cut back on the amount of staff they have, because they might not quite be as busy as they were before, but maybe they're moving to more of a telemedicine type system. And where telemedicine has really been trying to take off over the last decade, not everybody fully embraced it, but now people that were not able to fully embrace telemedicine before can embrace telemedicine now. And even some of the restrictions about HIPAA tools, or tools that preserve HIPAA and patient compliance, have been relaxed during this time. So in the past, where a practitioner couldn't do a face-to-face visit online over something like FaceTime or Skype, now, at least temporarily, they can. But using tools like Zoom, they can be made HIPAA compliant. So many of our practitioners are still able to see patients, even if they're doing it in a different way, even if they're doing it in an online format instead of doing it face-to-face. Now, not all of our practitioners can. If you're in physical medicine and you actually need to do some sort of adjustment or therapy to a patient that requires laying of hands on the patient, well, then some of our practitioners might be shifting focus a little bit during this time if their practice isn't open, but they could still do teleconsultations that are wellness focused. Everyone is wondering how they can boost their immune system right now. Everyone is wondering how they can support having a healthy immune response. And so we could take advantage of this time and provide tools for our practitioners to help them understand what information to share with their patients about how to stay healthy and how to I saw some people talking earlier today. There's a lot of memes going around about quarantine snacks and how people are finding themselves at the refrigerator a lot more often than they thought they would, or they're going through food for their family a lot faster than they thought that they would, because when people get bored, sometimes they tend to reach for the refrigerator or the pantry. When people get bored, sometimes the cravings start to chime in. So we want to make sure that we're helping to educate people on how to maintain their health habits when they're doing it from home, when they're home more than they're used to, when they can't go to all the places that they normally can go. But as of right now, most of us can still at least go out in our backyards or on our patios and get fresh air. Most of us can still go get sunlight by sitting outside. Now, today in Charleston is not a very sunny day. I live in Charleston, South Carolina, but the sun will come back out and we can still get that. But we can support the process that we're going through right now by making sure we're eating a healthful diet, by making sure we're getting enough sleep, by making sure that we are minimizing the amount of stress that we are allowing in our lives. Like, we don't need to be glued to the TV for all the up to the minute changes in what's going on in the world. We can maybe check in once or twice a day so that we know what's going on, but we're not glued to it, right? So I did a seminar on Saturday for people that wanted to learn more about nutraMetrix, and it was called a nutraMetrix 101 and 201. One of the things that was so brilliant about this workshop was we had people from all over the country on it, and I think we had 56 attendees on. It was only promoted for a couple of days. It was actually supposed to be a live and in-person event that was going to take place in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we had originally only promoted it within the Charlotte, Carolina local area. area. But when we decided to move everything online, in a very short period of time, people jumped on and said, I want to participate in this. And we had people from California, we had people from Illinois, we had people from Maryland, we had people from Florida, we literally had people from all over the country. And one of the comments that kept coming up in the text and chat box was, I'm so glad that I'm able to participate in this today. One of these has not been to my area in a while, and I've wanted to be able to do it. So along the theme of why is there never have been, I'm messing that up, but why has there never been a better time to build your nutraMetrix business? In this unique opportunity that we have right now, we have more training opportunities for our NCs, our health professionals staff than we've ever had before. In fact, if you look, either on my own Facebook page, or if you're watching in the nutraMetrix Consultant Facebook group, we've created all these links to events that we have going on over the next 8 weeks. And we have at least 6 events per week just within our nutraMetrix division over the next 8 weeks that people can plug into. So some of our practitioners who have more time than usual right now can finally plug into events that they've been wanting to plug into for years, but they couldn't. I've had people that were on that Saturday session this past weekend who their last NC training was in 2009, and they've been wanting to get recertified as a nutraMetrix consultant, but because of their job-related scheduling, they couldn't get away to do so. So people are re-engaging, people are plugging back in, people want to be able to spend their time empowering themselves to make a difference, not only in their own lives, but in the lives of others. And we have these unique platforms like this Zoom and the Facebook Lives that you guys are watching me on right now, where we can reach people that normally wouldn't have been able to attend some of our sessions because their schedule was too full or they just couldn't get away. And now there's not a lot of things for them to be able to do outside of their home. So more and more people are plugging into these trainings. I also want to talk to you about some of the practitioners that I've talked to that are moving to more of this telemedicine type model. For some of them that have already shut down their practices, they've shared with me that the revenue that they created through their nutraMetrix business is some of the only revenue that they still have coming in right now. If they're not seeing as many patients as they were before, they can still talk to those patients about wellness options. And I don't know about you guys that have accounts with us with Market America or nutraMetrix, my retail customers are ordering like crazy right now. My retail went through the roof over the past 2 weeks because we have a lot of products that can help people support their body with optimal nutrition, and people know that. And so they wanted to make sure that they got the products they needed to be able to support optimal immune function. They wanted to make sure that they weren't without those through a time like this. And so patients of practitioners are also looking for those types of options. And through the health professionals nutraMetrix portal, they can continue ordering even if the practice is not open. Right? So we have all of these incredible tools available to us. And for the first time, we have access to people that we wouldn't have had access to before. In fact, I posted in the nutraMetrix Facebook group maybe last weekend, a friend of mine who had talked to me about wanting to open a nutraMetrix account as an NC. She and I started talking together about maybe October of last year. And by December, she's like, I really want to open my account. I just can't get enough time in my schedule. I've just not been able to free up my calendar to be able to get to a training. And last week she said, I'm home for the next couple of weeks. My work schedule is less than usual. This is the best time that I've had in years to be able to open my account. I'm ready to get started right now. So I'm going to encourage you, if you have people that you've talked to that the timing just wasn't right for, reach out to them as a human first, like not as a business person, as a human first. Reach out to them and find out how they're doing. Reach out to them and ask how their family is. Reach out to them and see if there's anything that you can do to help them. But ask them too, what are you doing during this time? How are you passing your time? And one of the things that I shared on that Saturday session this past weekend is I've found so far there's really 2 kinds of people in terms of, there's more than that, but in terms of how people are adjusting to the extra time at home. There are people right now that just want to tune out of everything. I call them the Netflixers, and all that they're doing is sitting down and binging on Netflix. And then there are the people that really want to be using this time to their advantage. They want to take advantage of the extra time they have at home, and they're delving into personal and professional growth. They're registering for online courses that they wouldn't have done before. They're plugging into events like this one that they maybe wouldn't have done before. And so I think it's a perfect time for us to expose all the tools that we have, all of the techniques that we have to be able to help people improve their health, right? Because part of our mission is helping people improve patient outcomes, or helping our own customers improve their own health outcomes, but then also helping people utilize the tools that we have to generate additional revenue for themselves. And that's something that, at least through Retail Profit, can be done very quickly with our business model. So I want to make sure that everybody is using these tools to their advantage. Make sure you take the time to download the calendar that we have. You can check my Facebook profile for it, my personal profile. If you're not in the official NutriMetrix consultant group, if you are in the official NutriMetrix consultant group, go to the events tab and take a look at all of the events that we have scheduled for the next 8 weeks. And for those of you that are unfranchise owners, don't just look through NutriMetrix, but also go to the marketamerica.com Facebook page, because, like, for example, Dr. Deidre Mason did an incredible session last night on that page on immunity and stress. And so many people feel stressed right now, that we need to be able to help them understand things that they can do to minimize the stress response so that they don't lower their overall immunity. And so let me just see, if you have any questions, you can type them in the chat box. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing any questions. Okay, no open questions to the group on Zoom. Let me check the Facebook page over here and see if there's any comments in the Facebook group that I need to answer. Lots of us talking there. Hi, lots of hellos. Okay, great. And so I hope you're finding this helpful, because again, guys, there has never been a better time. We've never had people's attention like we do now. For example, on Friday, all my days are starting to run together, and I'm sure that some of you can relate to that. But on Friday, Dr. Mason also did a session on the nutraMetrix public Facebook page on immunity. And I text messaged her right afterwards, because by the time she had ended the webinar, maybe 15 minutes later, she had over 1,800 views on that session, which wasn't advertised very much. And so I just want you to know that not only are there more people watching it, but there's a lot more people plugging in from the customer standpoint, et cetera. And so Dr. Mary asked the question, is that presentation on immunity and stress recorded and available for those that missed it live? Yes, both of them are. So the one that she did on Friday was a little bit different than the one she did last night on the Market America Facebook page. I did see in our Facebook group that Sarah posted a link to the YouTube video for that. So it's definitely on YouTube on the nutraMetrix channel. We will also make sure, if you go back to the Market America Facebook page, you should be able to find the recording for it live on there as well. But the one that she did on Friday on the nutraMetrix page should be on the videos page for that. So if you go to facebook.com/official nutraMetrix and go to the video section, you'll see the one from Friday. The one from last night, which was a little bit longer, a little bit more in depth, a little bit different. It was geared towards a different audience as well. That one will be available on YouTube and on the Market America Facebook page. We'll probably I'll find it and share it in the nutraMetrix Facebook group as well. So then this leads to a couple of other questions that came up on Saturday in my workshop, but I think it'll be applicable to this conversation as well. People said to me, well, how do you recommend that we find health professionals to work with during this time when we can't really leave our house? And one of the participants on my Saturday call is a pharmaceutical rep on my Saturday session. She was a pharmaceutical rep, and she said even as a pharmaceutical rep, their business was considered non-essential. The selling of nutraceuticals or going out, not nutraceuticals, pharmaceuticals was considered non-essential in the area where she lived. So the sales consultants, pharma reps, et cetera, are not allowed to go into the practitioners' offices for the next 60 days. But that's okay. There's still practitioners looking for things online. And so I'm going to encourage you to still go through the same process that we normally teach, but instead of doing face-to-face meetings, you're going to schedule a Zoom or a FaceTime or maybe a private Facebook Live if you have your own group set up that you want to do those types of things in, but still work through your warm market. Still talk to the people you know and let them know what you have available. Go live on your own Facebook page and talk about your mission to help people support their health during this time. Talk about things that you're doing from a lifestyle medicine standpoint in your own house. Share how you're dealing with the stress. And as you talk about how you are passionate and committed to helping others stay healthy through this time, you're going to attract people to you that are looking for your solutions. And people will comment and they'll introduce you to other people. They'll share your videos. They'll share your concepts. Maybe they'll introduce you via a group text chat to a practitioner that they think that you would be able to connect with. But you're still going to use the same things that we teach in NutriMetrix consultant training about how to ask for an appointment. You're still going to do a discovery meeting. You can still do staff trainings, but you're just going to do them via Zoom, or you're going to do them via FaceTime, or you're going to do them via Skype, or whatever your online tool is that you're most comfortable with. If you are an unfranchised owner or a nutriMetrix consultant, make sure you check out in your unfranchised back office the Zoom tool that we offer through Market America and our partnership with Working Live. We really do have an incredible Zoom platform that's offered at a very significant discount. In fact, the Zoom that I'm presenting to you from right now is through that Working Live. I've used Zoom in my business for the last 3 years. I'm pretty much on private Zooms at least once a day. And so I've used Zoom for a very long time. And I used to pay significantly more per month for my regular Zoom account that I got just by going to zoom.us and signing up. But I was only on a platform that allowed me to have 100 people per meeting, and I didn't have the webinar feature. When I upgraded through my Market America back office, the unfranchised back office, you go to my account and underneath there is a link to Zoom. When I went to that link, you're able for $9.99 a month, or you could do the annual plan if you want to. You get an upgraded account that not only has up to 500 attendees, but it also has the webinar platform like I have right now. So the savings is ridiculous because I was spending almost $1,400 a year for my old account, and it was maxed out at 100 people. And now I'm spending $9.99 per month, plus getting 15% IBV, and it's the significantly higher account with 500 people on 500 people on the webinar side of things. So definitely take advantage of that if you haven't done so already. But again, there are some things that you'll see when you go through our training materials that might not make perfect sense for you right now. Almost all of it can still be done via a Skype or a FaceTime or a Zoom type meeting. And I'll give you an example of one of them. When you're going through your practice planning guide as a nutriMetrix consultant, when you're in that initial phase of planning implementation with a practitioner, one of the things that we ask you to do or suggest you to do is a practice walkthrough. Now, if the practitioner's office is still open, the walkthrough can still happen with you being at home and somebody from the office walking around with the camera and showing you the office. I've done that for years because I work with a lot of practitioners at a distance, so we've always done that. The only time that that might not be possible for you right now is if you're working with a practice whose office is closed for the next couple of weeks. Well, you can still do staff trainings. You can still train on products. You could still do FaceTime or Zoom discovery meetings. And then you just save that one piece until they go back into practice. But in the meantime, build an online model, right? The other thing that you'll find is I think practitioners will be really surprised to think about what they could do. They might just need to think outside of the box a little bit from an online perspective in terms of group sessions for their patients. If they want to be able to be hosting online wellness workshops for their patients. Let me just give you an example. Let's say that they do an online wellness workshop because they're trying to keep their staff paid. They're trying to keep revenue coming into the practice, and they know that they have really valuable information that they can share. We have all kinds of workshops already built for them. They don't have to create the wheel. They can just go into the back office into support materials. They can download presentations. They can use the TLS programs that we have, the education programs. And let's say that they still want to be able to offer those at a charge to patients. If you get 10 to 20 people on a call and you're charging, I don't even know, like $15, $20, just you can even keep it low right? You get all of a sudden a couple people on the webinar. These paid webinars can really add up. So for some of the practices that are worried about their revenue streams coming in, moving to an online model of education and charging for some of those sessions can be a way of adding revenue to the practice that they didn't think about. And depending on the size of their practice, they might be really surprised at how quickly that can add up. And then you add in the product sales to help support the patients, supporting their structure and function, whatever structure or function they want to support, they can do that with product sales. And then that also generates BV, which could accumulate for their commissions as well. So we really have a unique opportunity to be able to help our practitioners keep their income coming, maybe not their primary income from the patient visits that they had before, but keeping some revenue coming